Here we go. Rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll. Michael Gebben here, your mind mechanic, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas don't die and your hearts, heads, and hard drives. Today, why following your passion is bad advice, the accidental entrepreneur duality, and curiosity. So it's interesting. You know, there's a lot of advice. I've said it probably in my career one time or another, which is follow your passion. But then I've gotten lots of rebuttals at times where people, quite frankly, don't know what their passion is. They don't really know what they're passionate about, or following their passion may seem irrational. It may seem irresponsible, unrealistic, or they say, I don't know how to make money doing it. So then what happens is the pursuing of many, many things that we stop and start and 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 stop and start, that quite frankly, we're looking for that silver bullet. We're looking for that thing that's the promise of the passive income. There's a guy, which I'll probably do a whole video on this, named Alex Hormozy. You should check him out. And, you know, he says we need to make active income cool again. And, you know, it's interesting because I think that there's this aspect that there's so much. I just told my wife this before we got down here. There's so much being sold to people that's basically, you know, do a whole bunch of nothing, and then you're going to be able to make all the money that you could ever need with this passive income. And then as a byproduct, you can do what you really want. The interesting thing is a lot of creatives, creators that follow me, filmmakers, videographers, photographers that I interact with, that I coach, and even myself, they care a lot about what they're doing. And they care a lot less about money at times. And sometimes that very reason is why they don't have much, but that can change. But simply that act that they care a lot more about what they're doing than I'll just do something I don't like or don't want to do. That's fine when you're employed and you can just show up. And on certain levels, from my examples of employment, you can just show up and, you know, you do a basic job. Sometimes you'll get paid. Right. But anybody who's an entrepreneur, anybody who's self-employed, anybody who's a freelancer or a contractor, and there's no formalized agreement where, you know, show up and do your job and you're going to get paid every week for the next 5 years, right? Or endlessly, right? As an entrepreneur, as a self-employed person, freelancer, contractor, if you just sit around and stare at the wall every day, you ain't getting a paycheck, right? And so what I find is this idea of following your passion. I love my man, Joe Pony. He has a book called Follow Your Curiosity. What I love about that, and I look at my life and I bring up the word accidental entrepreneurs. I think there's very intentional entrepreneurs. There's people who, by and large, don't care as much about what they're doing as much as they care about the game of business and growth and, you know, just all the things that come with growing a business and hiring people and putting people in place and being that business owner. They really do enjoy that. And they're very intentional. They look very strategically at things that can make the most money and be the most profitable and be the most efficient. Whilst there's a lot of creatives that just simply love the art of creation and they wish they could make more money filming, editing, designing, creating, but because they're less driven by hiring people and finding all these people and putting them in place and putting this machine in place, right? Working on the business, as a lot would say, rather than in the business, they don't make it very far because people will tell them there's more potential in that. And when I say has the most potential is the thing that you'll work the most on, right? That you'll put the time, energy, and effort into. And so what happens is you see a lot of accidental entrepreneurs, a lot of accidental creatives who become entrepreneurs or have their own business because they're just doing the thing they love for fun, not even trying to make money in it. They get really good at it. People start seeing them doing it and they start getting asked, hey, could you do this for me? Hey, could you do that for me? Hey, I'll pay you to do this. Can you come film this, photograph that, design this? They're like, wow, there's something really here. And they start going down that path. That was my career path. We made movies in high school. My dad was big into doing that. And my dad works at a cemetery in one of the funeral homes. Saw that we did that and asked, do you think you can make these slideshows? And I was the one doing the techie part. And so I did it. Now I was entrepreneurial, but at the same time, like that was not my passion. What I'm doing today was never on my radar. I never wanted to be a speaker or a coach. I'm not coaching because it's easier than video or easier than running a video production company. I'm doing it because I love it. I am doing my best to set an example for people. I am never trying to discourage people from doing that which they love. Because what I've found is when I have followed my curiosity along the way, overall, it hasn't done me wrong. It's when I'm not so curious about something, but I'm following something because someone else has told me that what I am doing or what I want to do or what my dream or ambition currently is wrong, is bad. You can't make all this money this. It's not as scalable, leverageable. All these words that get thrown around, right? Oh, you can't make passive income with that. You need to do this. And so what I found is when others guided me down a path rather than me guiding myself and looking for guidance around what I am committed to, what I want to do. That doesn't mean that people won't give you some great advice, that you make some shifts. But are you making the shifts only because you deem them to be smarter, wiser, and more successful for you? Therefore, they must know better than you. And when I put the word in here, duality, what I mean is that anything I say or anybody else that you listen to, they are neither right nor wrong. They are just giving you their opinion. And sometimes people's opinion, right, i.e., if your parents are both employed, you know, they get a paycheck every week and technically have never started a business, they may have a lot of opinions about how you run yours, right? Versus a person who truly has had a very successful business, especially in what you're doing, right? If you're going to pick the two to potentially get their opinions, you probably want to pick the person who's actually done what you're wanting to do, not the person who's just dreamed about it, not the person who's just thought about it. And so for me, there's a lot that I don't know how to do. I don't know how to hire a team of 45 salespeople and then what they should say, what they should do, how they should do it, and what systems they should have. That's not me. I've made a lot of money in my career. But what I have done is I've followed my curiosity. I've followed the fun. I have followed the fulfillment. And when I haven't, I've been the most dissatisfied, made the least amount of money, had the least amount of fun, was the most stressed, the most anxious, the most worried. Whereas when I have followed my curiosity, it has led me down paths that I would have never even dreamed of, simply because the people who are guiding me, telling the path that I felt like I was going down was wrong. And then I start following them because I think I have to or I should. The problem is with a lot of have tos and shoulds, you avoid. If you don't want to, then you likely won't do it. All of us can do anything for short periods of times, and we can develop different habits for things we may dislike. But there's always in the back of our mind why we change direction when an ad comes on our Facebook feed or YouTube or Instagram or anywhere in between that promises some level of simplicity and making a certain amount of money, but they delete how that money, what you will have to do to earn that money. Then what happens is you start going down a path that when you find out what's necessary to do it, and all you're caring about is the outcome, not the path, not the actions, not the things you'll have to do to get it, you don't get to the outcome. And you spend 5 months working on something without much progress, telling yourself, oh, I did all this stuff. You probably didn't. You did a lot more thinking than you did doing, right? But we've all had those times where we don't need to be held accountable or pushed to the fire or anything. We just do it. We get in the flow, we get in the zone, and time just evaporates. There's something to that. There's something to look at within that. And the more you can identify those things and keep following those little breadcrumbs, the more likely you are to succeed. Versus a very small percentage of the populace who can bleed their eyes out, sleep when they're dead, and grind doing stuff they hate for years and years and years. Most creatives will do that for a short period of time, but that will lead to burnout. And that burnout kills the momentum and sometimes kills your soul and then makes you more gun shy to move forward again and build something that you really want to build or you really want to do. And the thing about entrepreneurship is I think it's glorified, left and right from people right now. But the truth of the matter is it takes energy, it takes effort, and it will take work. And if our expectations are skewed of what kind of work and effort that will take, then when we think we should be able to achieve XYZ in 3 weeks, what happens when it's going to take 3 years? We're like, I thought this was going to happen in 3 weeks. This person did it in 3 weeks. Yeah, but they're not you. The bane of a lot of our existence is the highlight reel, whether good, bad, or indifferent, that we get curated from everyone, including me. Can't sit on here 24 hours a day and show you every moment of every second of every day of my life and what's happening, what I'm saying, and what I'm doing. Most don't want that. There's reality shows that have versions of that. And even that's still, having filmed them back in the day, even that's still highly curated. And so the reality is we have to learn a level of discernment when we're looking at other people and seeing what they're saying, what they're doing, what they're accomplishing, the timeframes they're accomplishing, and realizing, but we don't really know the reality of their situation. Because yes, age, location, how long they've been working on it, kids, family, debt, bills, risk tolerance. There's so many things that factor in to why this person did XYZ and got this result in a week, and why you think you did XYZ and you've been doing it for months and still have not gotten the result. What's going on behind that really matters. And I don't think it's talked about enough. So if you enjoy conversations like this and you want more interaction, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, I do something called Mind Tune-Up Time. You can go to mindtuneuptimelive.com. At the current recording of this, it's free. If you'll get to know me, what you'll see is the majority of what I do, I give. Some people don't get that because most people, there's always an angle. They don't really help and they're holding things back. These videos, your daily jumpstart, I ain't holding anything back. I'm just trying to keep them to 15, 20 minutes max. On Mind Tune-Up Time, it's just something that I give back, where I get on there and essentially every week I take new people on that I coach. So you can get on there complimentary. I don't hold back. I've had people who've dramatically changed their business and got unstuck from 20 minutes interacting on one of those sessions for completely free. Because I work with a lot more high-level people overall, and I give the rest of it back because I just want people to be able to not have to spend $10,000 to hear some of the things that I've seen and I've experienced myself from spending the money and, quite frankly, being behind the scenes of companies. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I want you to avoid as much as possible the ugly. And so this content is designed to help you avoid the ugly. There'll be challenges, there'll be difficulties. There is no doubt. I am not here painting rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns for you. I'm just here to help you avoid things that I deem to be completely unnecessary for most people. Or you're stuck in the minutia right now and you don't know how to get out of it. I wouldn't change anything in my life, but the reality is there's plenty of things that I didn't want to keep doing and that I was stuck on. So I've learned the lesson, I pull the positive from it, but I don't want to keep doing it. And so anyways, rock and roll. I appreciate you. Leave some likes and love on Facebook. Send me a message. Let me know if there's any topics or thoughts that you'd like covered on these videos. This is your daily jumpstart coming to you Monday through Friday, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so that your ideas, your dreams, your ambitions, your goals, all that's inside of you does not die in your heart's heads and hard drives. So my friends, keep rocking, keep rolling. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon. Take care.